Tonight at 10, Alex Joseph of Geneseo sits down with KWQC's Sarah Jones to talk about how his family is coping with the loss of their 3-year-old son. Carter Joseph and his mother were hit by a car in a freak accident in a church parking lot on February 28th.
The Josephs are launching an organization called Outside the Lines as their way of giving back to the community that has been by their side, while also honoring their son's passion and love for life and art.
Alex Joseph is from a small town in Vermont, so when he and his wife were looking for a place to raise their 2 boys, they thought Geneseo would be the perfect place. The Josephs moved there just 4 or 5 months ago and hadn't had a chance to meet many of their neighbors. Alex said after the accident they thought they were going through one of the most difficult times in their life alone, but then they soon realized that couldn't have been further from the truth. He says his family was going through this dark time with the entire community. Alex took these photos of his son for an art project Carter was doing at school.
I said, "You want to get in front of the camera for Daddy?" And he's like, he just kind of looked at me for a minute, and he jumped up on a pelican case and he just started striking poses. I have no idea where he ever got the motivation to do that, but he was making faces and dancing and just being an absolute ham in front of the camera. Just a strange moment that he just came out of his shell for a minute. Those are only a couple weeks old now. He gave us that moment to see all these different layers.
The week before the accident, Alex says he and Carter did extra things Alex usually doesn't get to do as a busy dad. He took Carter to a doctor's appointment instead of going to work, and they went to the movies and worked on school projects together.
The day that he got in the accident, I got up early and we made pancakes, and the last thing he ever said to me was, "These were delicious and I love you," as I was heading out to work. And you just don't know, you never know when that day is going to come, if it's going to come.
Alex says the hardest thing about being a father now is making sure that his 5-year-old son Hudson is processing everything and getting the attention he needs and expressing himself.
You feel like you just had your guts ripped out, but you still have a 5-year-old who wants to go make art on the sidewalk. That's probably the hardest part, is still trying to stay cheery and enjoy yourself and make sure that you're available for your other son.
Last week, Alex and his wife Kelly had to make a difficult decision.
We had to choose to take Carter off life support. All of the medical professionals there were in agreement. There was no chance for Carter to survive at that point.
They say they are grateful that their community was there for them.
When we finally came to the realization that he needed to be let go, we were welcomed back here with support and love, and we were able to make that decision knowing that this community was here for us.
Both Alex and his wife Kelly are trying to cope through this unimaginable pain.
Kelly's working through it in her own way. We came home from the chaos of the accident and the hospital and everything that happened to happen there, and it was so quiet at our house. And you just kind of sit and you start thinking and you try to figure out what to do with your time now and how you're going to grieve and how you're going to cope. And so for me, that was pulling out the computer and starting to assemble websites and starting to build GoFundMes and starting to create something that we felt so loved by this community that we wanted to make sure that they knew that we loved them back.
The Josephs say the overwhelming support is one of the many reasons they wanted to give back to the community they call home and honor the legacy of Carter, who his dad describes as a spitfire who didn't like rules or adhering to restrictions.
But he would always get really calm when he had a paintbrush or a marker or a piece of paper or glue. He loved glue.
Carter's grandma called him her little artist.
Glue and glitter stuck to my walls, and he's painted entire closets, and we've spent a lot of money repairing Carter's artwork in the past.
So the Josephs wanted to create a space where kids could be creative and unrestricted. So they launched Outside the Lines.
In some regard, I'm probably trying to keep him alive, and so having a place where kids can come do that and letting them do that and see that, I think that would be really great to see a little bit of him.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Alex says as long as Outside the Lines remains funded, Carter will be alive and well in Geneseo and hopefully making messes all over town.
Up above the world so high, like a diamond.
To learn more about Outside the Lines, you can visit outsidethelines.live.
Thank you, Sarah. And you can find more about the organization and find a link to it on our website on the Saw It on 6 tab.